Hey everyone, I'm Meredith Marakovits alongside Tricia Whitaker. This is super exciting because you are my first non-Yankees related guest.
It's like give everybody a chance to hate on me.
No, I was just going to ask if you're nervous. That type of responsibility and such a
lot.
high-level production like this has to be...
My highest honor to date of my career, Meredith.
I don't believe that for one second. For those of you that don't know, she covers the Rays. She essentially does what I do for the Yankees. Pre-game, post-game, in-game. Are you loving it?
I am loving it. I always tell people I'm the Meredith of the Yankees because everybody knows who Meredith is. She's been in this for so long. But yeah, it's awesome, especially last season.
I'm super old.
No, that means you're super successful. That's what that means. No, it's been great. It's been awesome. They had a great year last year, and it's been great.
It's kind of funny too because we are both clearly blondes. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but sometimes they'll say your name, they'll call me your name, or I'm sure you get it as well. I'm like, do all blondes look alike? There are more than just one of us that are covering baseball right now. So now this is your second year that you're coming up on. What's been your favorite part about covering the Rays so far?
Well, obviously the postseason. I feel like I tell everybody I feel so spoiled because I come into the picture and they immediately make the postseason. They win the wild card game. They take the Astros to a Game 5 of the ALDS, and it was just so much fun. I mean, not a lot of reporters tell me like it took years to be a part of that champagne shower in the clubhouse, and this team is just so much fun to follow, and they're in an awesome division. I mean, this is, I believe, and I'm totally biased, this is the best division in baseball, and it's just been a blast. I've loved every second of it.
You mentioned champagne showers. Super fun part of the job, but did you know going into it just how gross you were going to feel afterwards?
Oh my gosh. So probably like the worst of it I got was when we were in Oakland. We won the wild card game, and we had to get on a flight directly after the celebration to go to Houston. And, you know, all the players...
Not a short flight, mind you.
No, not a short flight. All the players are showering in the clubhouse. Well, I mean, I don't have a place to shower.
Right.
So I literally go into the bathroom of the media press room area, and I washed my hair in the sink because I was like, I cannot sit on a flight to Houston for 5 hours with champagne in my hair. Although, did you know that beer is good for your hair?
That's what people tell me.
Budweiser is good for your hair.
You feel this, and you'll tell me what's good for it. But it's funny. That's a pro move right there. To tackle that in year one, you had a lot of foresight to be able to say, hey, this probably is not going to go well once I'm drenched.
No.
Because I remember in 2017, when we were heading from Cleveland to Houston, I got crushed in that clubhouse. And I went with a hat on. They gave me a hat then.
That's a good move,
it just looked gross. But it wasn't while I was getting sprayed with stuff. It was after the fact because I'm like, oh, this is a bad scene. I brought a change of clothes. I tried to like clean up, however, but the crunchy hair is what really gets you.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was a long flight. For whatever reason, it just took us long to get to Houston. And I remember getting in maybe 3, 4 in the morning. By that time, I'm like, I'm exhausted. So instead of like a normal, this is so gross. Instead of going right to the hotel and showering, I'm like, well, it's already dry. So then the next morning, I wake up and I'm like taking my braid out because I put it in a braid, and it's like,
oh, it's the worst. No, champagne is not good for your hair. Budweiser might be, but champagne, not so much.
Nasty.
Champagne smells like body odor when it dries.
Not great.
It's horrible.
Wasn't a great way to wake up, I will say that. That is not what you want. Aside from that, heading into year 2, what did you learn in year 1 that you're like, all right, I got this now?
Oh my gosh. I think if anybody ever says they've learned everything, they're lying to you. I learned so much in year 1. I think I learned the most from just like listening to every single broadcast and listening to our color analyst is Brian Anderson, and he was a pitcher in the major leagues, and his insight has been just invaluable to me. And then also just like learning how the major league schedule works, right? It is a grind.
It's a beast.
I mean, it is. I've covered the NFL, I've covered the NBA, I've covered college basketball, college football, racing, NASCAR, all that stuff. There's no grind greater than baseball. I mean, it is, you constantly have to remind yourself every day when you go to the park, you love your job, and you do love your job. You do love your job, but you have to remind yourself sometimes in the midst of like, what are the dog days of August? Like, you're just like, is this ever going?
What's
Are we going to get to the
now?
postseason? That's probably coffee, energy drinks. Energy Fizz is my new favorite thing. B12 vitamins are the best, but you just have to learn to deal with the grind. And I think also, you probably can relate to this, the challenge of trying to come to the park and find something new to talk about every day that's interesting. Because you always have the pitching matchups to talk about and all that stuff, but you have to find something new to talk about every day that's interesting, right?
And it's challenging at times. It really is, especially considering they play every day. It's not like football where you have a week to prepare and get your storylines down, but you're playing the same teams and divisional teams. You're playing them a lot throughout the course of a year. So trying to find new angles and new ways to go about it is interesting. Now, you came from Indy, right?
Yes, yeah.
So was it just like culture shock when you went into the baseball world?
It was a little bit of a culture shock because in Indianapolis, like, you have the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA affiliate of the Pirates, but like we didn't cover them much. So it definitely was culture shock because basically you work every day for what, like 6 to 7 months, basically.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have to think of different things every day. And it is different. The MLB is different. MLB. I always get yelled at for saying the MLB because it's Major League Baseball.
Oh, we get what you mean.
Major League Baseball is different than the NFL. It's totally different. The culture is different, right? Players are there every day, so you can't constantly be going up to the same guys and interviewing them every day. Whereas in the NFL, players are not there every day. You're not there every day. So it is different. It's different, but it's fun. It's a good different.
It's good. It's almost oddly addicting.
At least
that's what I found. Addicting. So you're going like 120 miles an hour for 6, 7, maybe 8 months, depending on how your team is doing, and then all of a sudden it's like, boop, done.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
You're at zero. But while you're going 120, you kind of thrive off of it, or at least I do.
Oh, for sure. And then on your days off, I remember during the season feeling like on my days off, like, what is my life? What am I doing with my life? I've done nothing today but wake up and sit here and binge watch Veep or whatever it is, Like, it's really, you get into a routine and you're right, it is almost addicting. You're like, I don't have anything to do. What is my life worth right now?
What do I even do right now? Now, have you found that you're turning into a little bit of a travel snob? Because while I don't want to admit it, that's kind of what's been happening in my life. Because you're on the road and you're traveling with a professional team, so 9 times out of 10, or more likely 11 times out of 10, the accommodations are great, everything's taken care of for you, and that certainly makes the job easier. But then you'll go to some places where you're like, oh man, I hate that hotel. The pillows there, would you believe it?
Not a Gregory's Coffee right down the street in
Baltimore.
How do I survive?
How do I survive?
Or when you, gosh, this makes us sound like such
terrible
snobs.
People. Terrible people.
I swear I'm not a snob, but
when you travel this much, it just kind of.
And then when you travel normally, you jump on a Southwest flight and you're like, oh, I can't get up and go to the bathroom right now. Like what? Like
Turn
what
my
are you
cell phone
talking
off.
about? I don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you do, but I mean, it is still at some point travel is still travel.
Yeah,
like you're 100%. Like, yes, this hotel is nice. Yes, the plane is nice. Yes, the team is wonderful. But like you're like, I just want my own bed. I want my own pillow. I want my own bathroom.
The little things.
It's the little things in life that you learn to appreciate.
We were actually talking about this earlier. The amount of times we wake up on the road, or I know I'm really in a way when I start doing it at home. You wake up and you have zero idea what city you are in or where you are. And the freakiest thing to me is when you get home after a game, you go right to sleep, you wake up the next day, you don't know where you are. It's not like you've been out all night going crazy, like not even close. You're just fatigued and you've been traveling a lot. And I've already been at home in New York and not like, it took me like a full minute to figure out I'm in my own home. I'm like, can't be.
No. It's totally normal because there are weeks where you will be in 3 or 4 different places in 1 week. And, you're taking all these flights. And I remember one time waking up in Detroit. So when we go to Detroit, we stay in a suburb. I woke up and it seriously shook me because the blinds were closed and I woke up and I was like, I don't know where I am. I literally don't know where I am. And I had to open and again, like you said, you're not going out at night being crazy. You get into this routine and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in Michigan. I am not in New York. We were just in New York. I'm in Michigan. This is Michigan. And I look out my window and I realize, okay, yes, I am in Michigan. Everything is fine. The apocalypse hasn't happened. Like, everything's fine. But you're right. It does. You get so crazy that it's just like you lose track of where you are.
throughout the first year, did you develop a favorite city? Do you have a favorite place that you like to go on the
Am I
road?
allowed to say New York? No.
Of course
I
you are.
I do actually really like New York. Where we stay, there's a Gregory's Coffee right down the road, and I love Gregory's Coffee. Shout out to them. But
sponsor her. Come on.
yeah,
Float her some coffee.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure they're all watching.
Yeah, H&M is down the road. Do I enjoy H&M? So we went to San Diego this year, and San Diego is awesome.
It's a nice spot, right? Everybody's
my
super
gosh.
chill. Very
And
no
the
worries.
stadium is amazing.
Beautiful ballpark.
It is a gorgeous ballpark. I mean, obviously, like Yankee Stadium and Fenway and all that stuff, they're great historic stadiums. But San Diego is like a new state-of-the-art spot. And I was blown away by it. I was just like, this is crazy. Like, you could spend like 24 hours here if you really wanted to and just like have something new to do. They have a market in there. It's like a grocery store.
Yeah.
They have a park. San Diego is great. The weather is great in San Diego. I do really like coming to New York, and I like coming to Boston. Because you get to know the places around the area you stay.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you get to know the city and the people a little bit better, and you almost feel like, okay, like, I'm on the road, but like I know this area, so I enjoy coming to those
Starts
places.
feeling a little bit more like home,
Yeah.
even though it's not home. Now, I have to ask you some Tampa Bay Rays questions since you're here, and that is your team.
We can't keep talking about Gregory's Coffee.
I've only been to Gregory's Coffee a time or two, but we'll get more into that after this is over. But what I really want to know is, are you pro DJ Kitty or anti DJ Kitty?
Gosh. Okay, well, I will not dare say that I'm anti DJ Kitty, because there was one day on the broadcast where we had like this random rapid fire question with a player, and the question was dogs or cats. And I said somewhere in the interview that I hated cats, and I cannot explain the kind of hate I got
Vitriol.
on Twitter. I mean,
Vitriol.
DJ Kitty even tweeted at me. They were like, "What did I ever do to you?" And I'm like,
Oh, no.
I'm not you. Like, I just hate cats. I am pro DJ Kitty. I love DJ Kitty. Of course, I love DJ Kitty. I just don't like cats. I don't like having a cat in the house. They're not friendly.
Yeah.
They're not nice. Most of them.
They're sneaky. They're sneaky.
They act like they own the world.
I am terrified of cats, but DJ Kitty has grown on me a little bit.
Good.
And
So
for
happy.
somebody that has never been to a game at Tropicana Field, DJ Kitty is their like rally monkey, whatever you'd like to call it, backwards hat, some chains.
DJ Kitty.
DJ Kitty.
She explained it
DJ Kitty.
perfectly
I mean,
well.
I don't know. How was he created? I know you don't know the story behind that, nor do I. Nor do we really need to dive into the
I
origin
actually don't know
of
the
DJ
story.
Kitty.
Now I need to look it up. I
Right.
don't know how he was created. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Have you had a crazy moment on the air yet with fans in the background or something nuts?
yeah.
Because I've had people that are just dancing behind me or doing God
Have you
knows
ever
what.
had somebody like literally carrying a huge python and put it in your face?
Thankfully, I have not been
That
a
happened to me.
recipient of the
In
python
Cleveland,
situation.
In Cleveland, they had a zoo day, and they brought all of these animals to the stadium. And my co-host Orestes Estrada told the zookeeper, the animal handler, that I was horrified of snakes. So I'm sitting there
Great.
getting ready to
We
host
know
the
what's
pregame
happening.
show. I had no idea. I was sitting there getting ready to host the pregame show, and I look up, and there is this like, I don't even know how much it weighs. Huge python. I mean, literally like huge,
no.
like the real thing.
Not into
and it's
it.
sitting right here, and I'm right here, and I'm just like.
And you're live on the air at this point?
No, they rolled the cameras, and then they played it back during the broadcast.
Oh, well,
and they
isn't that
played it
sweet
back
of
during the
them?
pregame show, and I panicked. I didn't know the cameras were rolling.
Yeah, of
I
course.
panicked. I sprinted to the other. I ripped my mic cord off. I'm sure the audio guy was like cringing
What
because
are
I
you
ripped
doing?
off.
Yeah.
I sprinted to the other side, and I was like, no, get it away from, like, people who hold those things. It's a wild animal. Like, that could choke you. The other crazy one was when I got, like, I mean, I'm sure this has happened to you, but since it was my first year, it was the first time it happened. They poured a huge bucket of just ice and water on me after a walk-off.
Not warm.
No, it's not warm, and I didn't know it was coming, and our Rays video guy edited it to have the song "My Heart Will Go On" in the background of it.
That's kind of amazing.
It was pretty good.
That's good
So,
work.
yeah.
That's good work. I had, when we were in Oakland years and years ago, they always have a parade there.
Yeah.
A parade for everything. Anything you can possibly think of, they're like, great idea, let's have a parade for it. So they were having a dog parade that particular day, and I'm
boy.
live on the air, and I'm doing my whole spiel for Yes Network, and all of a sudden I feel something licking my foot.
Oh, that's the worst
I
feeling.
was like,
what it is.
I mean, I'm assuming, let's hope it's a dog, because if not, there's a whole nother issue that's happening. But yeah, like dogs were like licking my feet and my legs. And I was like, this is mildly uncomfortable. It's a little weird.
Especially when you can't break, like, you can't break face on camera. Like, you have to keep going. I mean, there are times where you can and it's okay, but like, most of the time you can't break face and you're like, there's something licking my ankle.
I want you to know right now that I'm smiling and talking about the pitching matchup, but there is an animal now licking my feet, which is super bizarre. Oh, so weird, so weird. Okay, let's talk 2020 Rays. We definitely
got a little off
went
topic.
right when we were supposed to go left, so apologies. 2020 Rays, what should we know?
Oh gosh, the 2020 Rays. Well, I think the sense with the team right now is that last year wasn't the end of anything. It was just the beginning, because for the most part, they have the same team back. I mean, obviously Travis d'Arnaud is gone, Tommy Pham is gone, and Emilio Pagan is gone. But they have basically the same team returning, and they have added some really exciting pieces, like Yoshi Satsuko. He hit his first home run of spring training this week, and it was awesome. It was people went crazy. He's a large fan base. But I think the sense is that it wasn't the end last season. It was just the beginning. And this season, they're really looking at whether or not they're going to actually do a traditional starting rotation rather than the opener. The opener kind of rocked the baseball world.
Yes, of course.
A couple years back, and it worked for them. But now they have 5 guys who could be legitimate starters and not need that opener. That's not to say, oh no, I knocked over our sign.
It's a great message,
It
folks.
is a good message. I can't believe I just
From
knocked
Susan
it over.
Waldman.
Well-behaved pitchers hardly make no.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's a topic of discussion right now. And one of the things they wanted to do in the offseason was add more offense to their lineup, and they did that. So it's exciting. It's really exciting, and I think the front office has done a really good job of adding the pieces they needed while keeping the pieces that they had there.
It's going to be interesting when you look at the way that division shakes out, because the Red Sox obviously sold a lot. The Orioles aren't expected to do that much. So it's really just the Yankees and the Rays that are going to be battling with each other. And the Yankees are already suffering from some injury issues. So that's going to be...
It will be.
It's going to be...
It'll be a great... I always looked forward to the Rays-Yankees. Obviously, you always do, but this season it was really fun. The Rays-Yankees matchup.
And there was some
extracurricular activities.
Friction, will we call it? Is it friction?
Friction. Yes, friction.
Yes.
The Avi Garcia, CC Sabathia moment was interesting. So, yeah, we'll see this season. It'll be fun.
Do you think it's an advantage, Tropicana Field? I mean, home field advantages for the Rays.
For the Rays.
Just because maybe some teams aren't used to playing in that environment and the way that it is.
It could be. Although when the Yankees come to town, is
there a horn?
What is happening? I was trying to ignore it, but like maybe
it's like a tugboat's going by.
It sounds like a wounded
new
dog. DJ Kitty? No. So Tropicana Field, when the Yankees come to town, I mean, there's a lot of Yankees fans there, so they have a following, but. It might be. It might be. I've never really thought about if it was a disadvantage for the away teams necessarily. But I know that when that place gets crowded in the postseason, when they play the Astros, I mean, I couldn't hear myself think, because it's almost like a tin can. Like when it gets filled and you've got the towels going and all the stuff. So when it gets crowded, it's really loud. And during the Rays-Yankees series, it's pretty crowded. And it's a fun atmosphere. So I can't imagine it's a disadvantage for the Yankees, but it's also not a disadvantage for the Rays. It's just a fun atmosphere during those series.
Yeah, I think some guys, it's hard for them to get used to the white top and trying to
lose the ball.
Trying to judge balls. So if you're used to playing there every day, maybe it helps out a little bit. But it's like any home field advantage. You feel more comfortable in your home park.
But also, I mean, I've seen some of our guys struggle seeing the ball come down from the white top, because it is hard. I mean, no matter how much you think you have your eye on the ball, I mean, when it's all the same color, it's not like you get used to white on white. Like, it's just hard to see. So I've seen our guys struggle with that, too. It's not easy.
So last year at Tropicana Field, all the lights went out. Remember that?
I do.
During our pregame show? And I was like,
we kind of just sat there for a while. It happened another time, I think.
It happened twice last year.
Yeah, it did. The lights went out. It was it was interesting. It was not a fun experience. I don't want that to happen. Rarely, like, they built Tropicana Field so that we don't have delays, you know, so you don't have rain delays.
Yet
and
here
then
we are
there's a
sometimes.
delay. You're like, okay, this is not what it's built for, but it was fine. It worked out.
Do you have one moment before we get going from last year that stands out as either a proud moment or just a, wow, you know what, my job is pretty cool. This is pretty good.
When we clinched in Toronto, I know that sounds so cliche, but the Rays had been waiting on that moment for years. I mean, there were so many guys on that team who had never experienced clinching in the postseason. It was a group of really young guys.
Yeah.
And I remember Charlie Morton is the guy on that team who's obviously not young. He's a seasoned veteran of the game. And he stood back in the corner of the clubhouse and just took videos on his phone of the guys celebrating.
And watched all the youngsters.
And watched it because the young guys were celebrating. And I remember fans were tweeting at me and messaging me and saying, thank you for bringing us into the clubhouse, because there are Rays fans who were too young to remember the last time that really happened.
That they
you
were
know?
in there, yeah.
And it was cool. It was such a cool moment. The other moment I think that stands out, they went into extra innings against the Dodgers. I think they went into the 8th or 9th inning and they were down 6-4, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they were down going into like the 8th or 9th inning. They came back, tied it, went into extra innings, and it was like the 12th inning, and they finally won the game. And it was like 3 a.m. in Tampa. So we had to fly back to Tampa.
Oh, wow.
We got back to Tampa as the sun was rising. We're going across the bridge to St. Pete. The sun's rising. It's 8 a.m., but they got the win, and that was one of the biggest wins of the season. So those are the moments you remember. I mean, even in like the extra inning games where you're like, I want to die. This is so long. Those are the moments you live for in baseball.
Yeah, and they're cool too when it works out favorably for the team you're covering, because they're much happier at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when they win as opposed to when they lose. I remember a couple years back, the Yankees were playing the Cubs in Chicago, and it went 18 innings, which was
we did that in Minnesota. Oh, that was a test of your passion for the sport.
Lunacy. But
did you win that game, though?
They won that game.
So did we.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
then
all
they went
good.
to Cincinnati. We got in about 6:30 in the morning, I think it was. It was pretty wild.
Oh, God.
Well, thank you so much for coming down this way, and we will see you around the way when the Yankees play the Rays. Oh, we will see you next time.